All right, so I'm gonna be going over the trade that I took today on Tuesday, May 27th. Um, this trade review, I do have some live commentary that I was like, I do have like my audio from when I was trading live. So while I go over this trade, I'm gonna talk over like voice over like I always do, and then I'm also going to play some of the live audio that I had as well while I was actively in the trade and the things that I was saying and how I was feeling at that moment. So starting off as we always do, um, we got our 5 minute sweep, which is this red line here. You can see I'm starting to draw out my 15-minute sell side. So I have it at 2 times speed like always. And so something that I want to discuss on today's trade was it was technically against my rules. Now, the way I'm trading now, I'm still kind of developing like new rules and new entry models and just kind of tweaking it to what has been working the best. And so today's trade, the last video, I'm pretty sure the last review that I did on one of my trades, I was talking about how I only want to see fractal sweeps be taken, which, so for the 5 minute standpoint, that means for the last 10 minutes, price has been below the price, and then after that, the last or the 10 minutes after, price has to also be below that high. That's for a 5 minute chart. Pretty much just these, right? These fractals. I pretty much said I want to see a 15-second fractal be swept, not just any 15-second fractal. Now, in today's trade, you can see, if I maybe go back a little bit, in this area right here, let me fast forward it to where I can like just kind of work it out. So I'm just gonna take a screenshot real quick so I can draw all over this. Um, Something that I had been talking about was I only want to see fractal sweeps happen. Now, in today's trade, if you look, um, this fractal or this low that I have marked out was not a fractal low. This would be the fractal low that I'd be looking for price to come down, sweep under, and then we get our move higher. Um, but after seeing that big sell off I had missed a couple, I think it might have been on Thursday, I decided that I am going to watch um, the lows that aren't fractals. So, like, if you look down here, you can see you have a candle that's lower on the right, a candle that's lower on the left, and lower on the left. And this would, so like this would be the low. Um, this candle, this would be the second candle here. This second candle here pierced this low. So this wasn't a fractal low at all. But I decided to watch it anyways. So like here's our liquidity sweep. Boom. We swept that low. Price starts moving up higher. And then if you look right here, we formed our fair value gap to the upside. Now there's two things that I did a little interesting here on this trade. You can see that, where's my little cursor? There it is. You can see I have my stop here rather than normally it would be down here. The main reason was this was already about 9 points. And I just felt like if we were to take this low and then possibly this low here, this low and this low, if we had taken these two lows, there's a good chance that price was just going to keep pushing lower and start moving down towards these levels right here. on the 5-minute chart. So I kept my stop pretty tight. And then something else that I also mentioned in a past live stream about taking an entry on the fill of the gap. If you look at my limit here, my limit is on the fill of the gap, not the tap of it. Now in this example, the gap was only about, I think the gap was only 2 ticks wide. So I was only saving myself, I think, a tick. So I think $5. I think I was saving myself $5 on this trade. But a lot of my trades, I would be giving myself a way better profit and a way better or way smaller loss amount if I were to use the fills. So that's two things I did good today. First thing was we we weren't we weren't constant on the fractal lows being swept on the 15-second chart at least. Um, and then I used the fill of the fair value gap instead of just like the top of it. So I just want to go over that real quick as well. Going back here, we'll just play this at normal speeds. So you can see I get filled there at 221 or 215.75. Stop losses at 206.50. You can see, like always, the prior 5-minute candle's high was going to be my target. And it was. In today's example, the target was super far. This was actually a 7.43 R trade, which was just phenomenal. Looking up here, the target was 68 points. So I'm trading 5 micros. You can see here, I'm trading 5 micros. This was $680 target, and I was risking maybe $95. So this was a phenomenal trade. It did have me pretty scared because it was a really tight stop for a really big target. I am gonna unmute this volume here, just in case I start talking. So you can see price was respecting that fair value gap really well. And then we start to kind of get a nice push. Like I said, when I do turn my audio on, I'm just going to let my voice talk for the rest of the trade. The trade didn't take too long, but I think it's good to just kind of have that live commentary rather than like a voiceover like this. I think I like doing the voiceovers just to make it a little bit more clear and understand of what I did good or what I could have done better. But I think the live commentary about me actively saying how I feel instead of me being like, well, I felt like, I can be like, right now I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling really uncomfortable being in this trade. So things like that. And I think that's what I'm gonna do moving forward. I think I'm gonna do my voiceover, and then I think when I do place a trade, I'm gonna turn my mic on and just kind of talk about how I feel. Especially that'll be really good for journaling reasons as well. You can see we're starting to come down. We do end up coming down and retesting my entry point. Kind of waiting for me to turn my mic on here. You see so far, I mean, we had 0 drawdown for the most part. About a couple, maybe a point or so of drawdown. You can see, here we go. We started to retest my entry. At this point, I thought I was kind of screwed, but it was just retesting my entry point. And this is what I talk about a lot. You might hear me talk about in the live commentary whenever I do start talking. Is that price will, if you're getting a good entry, an entry that has meaning, there's a reason. Like there is some logical reason that you are getting long or short at that point, and either other traders can see it or other traders don't see it, but price should want to retest your entry to validate the idea. It wants to find those buyers or find the imbalance that it wants to fill, make sure it's really filled it through. So like you can see price just comes down and just uh, retest my entry. Look, we don't even get a closure below. We're still waking through, like ICT will say, the wakes do the damage, right? But the bodies will respect. That's all I did. And you can see we just instantly start to move up here. So I'm wondering, do I start talking? I'm pretty sure I turned my mic on. I hope I did. Okay, I do. All right. So here we are now. I finally do start talking. I'm gonna put it back to normal speed, and then I'm just gonna play what I was saying live during this trade. And if I need to like come in and like clarify anything, then I will. But it's gonna be the live commentary here now. Oh, I messed up. The desktop audio is not attached. Hold on. I'm like looking at it and I'm like, it's not even playing. Here we go. This should play now. Type my stop. Okay. Alright, let's go back. It's gonna be a live commentary here now. Alright, I'm in this trade live right now. I just want to give a quick voiceover. Right now, I'm pretty uncomfortable, honestly, being in this trade. Just because my stop seems kind of tight, and we do have this big gap here that we're kind of working in. So, even though it is a setup, and I do like it, and there's really no reason for me to risk all the way down to this low, I'm pretty uncomfortable being in this trade at the moment. It's nothing that my target's further than it's supposed to be, or my entry isn't how it's supposed to be. I think the biggest thing that's making me uncomfortable with being in this trade at the moment is the fact that we didn't really get a fractal sweep down here. Off of a trade that I seen that I took last week, or that I didn't take last week, I saw that we did get a move off of a non-fractal sweep, like a very quick sweep of the low, and then we started to move higher. So when I did see that we did do this, and then we did leave a gap here, I was just like, all right, let me take it because I don't really want to miss another great trade just because I'm waiting for like one of these fractal lows to be swept. I mean, so far it's looking good. Target, like I said, target is this candle's high, which is a fair value gap. I'm not looking for like this high or anything like that. I'm looking for this high here at 284.50. But as of right now, I'm pretty uncomfortable. I mean, as any trade, this could easily just come back down and stop me out, especially since we're working through this gap here. A fill of this gap is 254.75. 254.75. I think if we can get to 254.75 and get a nice strong close through it, we should be okay for it to keep pushing higher. But if we fill it in and then just fail, then like what it's doing right now, then we might not be okay. But at the same time, I'm not really going to do anything different here. So this is the gap fill line right here. You can see we already touched it. Like I said, I really want to see a close above this red line, and for us to hold higher here. So there we go. There's our close. Okay. Like I said, I really want to see us really start to move through this high here. Just a quick, and just a quick recap. We are working off this 5-minute sweep down here. Seems pretty irrelevant, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. There is liquidity resting below every high and every low. We swept this 5-minute low. We got our 15-second internal sell side sweep. We got our 15-second bullish fair value gap. So this day didn't really matter too much, but something that I've been talking about in all of my trades is how we tend to completely fill in the gaps like fill them in all the way, like rebalance them completely before we get our push. So today I just said screw it, and I put my entry at the fill of this fair value gap. Now, mind you, the fair value gap is only 2 ticks big, but I got a 1 tick better entry than I would if I normally would have taken it. Um, I think this is gonna make it the TP here, but just a quick just talk about mental psych or just psychology in general here. Um, Even though I was kind of uncomfortable and I felt like I was rushing it and my stop was a little tight, I took the trade anyways. If I was to be scared to not to take the trade, I wouldn't have gotten in this move, and I would have missed out on this $680 trade that I'm about to get here in a second, because we're easily gonna push up here to this gap. Same thing too comes back to something that I want to state is that, dude, at the time I was in this trade, I was super confident. Like I was really expecting it just to keep pushing towards the high. You're gonna see me get very uncomfortable because we're not going to push directly back up to this high, and I'm gonna have to wait about 10, 10 or 15 more minutes, I think, before I actually do get my TP. And you'll kind of hear and see my mouse moving around, and just seeing how like distressed I get about watching this pull back against me. When we got our nice push, we then came back and retested the level. Now, if I was really quick to go to break even because I was scared to be in the trade, then I would have gotten knocked out, and then price would have ran up to my TP, and that would have been very unfortunate here. There's really no reason we shouldn't get our TP here. I'm not gonna be too worried about closing out early or anything like that. This isn't a major swing high level or anything like that. It's just a fair value gap. It is also 930's high of day as well. So like I said, I am a little, I am a little nervous here. I kind of really wanted to just hit my TP so I can be done. But we should get it here. We did touch this inversion here, but I can't imagine that it's really gonna stop price. And I mean, if you notice, like I just noticed that when we get this push back, I'm instantly thinking like I'm instantly looking to the left, being like, did I miss something? Like, is this gonna stop my trade from happening? X, Y, and Z. Like this to some people could be a breaker, right? Maybe we're working inside of a breaker and we just filled it in. Something that I always tend to do when something like this, where we get real close to TP and then we just start pulling back. I start looking to the left, being like, dang, what's making it stop price? Like, should I get out? Like, did I miss something? Even though I am saying these things to myself, you don't ever hear me talk about the thinking about closing out the position. I'm never like, maybe I should get out, or maybe I should take some contracts off. Even if something that I don't notice does stop my trade from hitting, you won't ever see me close something out either for a stop loss, or you'll see, since we're so close to target, I do go to break even because we already retested my entry. So if we really come down again, what's the likelihood that price isn't just gonna end up pushing through these lows here? It's slim to none, especially since I'm only risking 9 points. But I just wanted to put that out there. We might trade back down to this red line here. And we already traded past the 50% mark of this wick here. I mean, again, here I am. I'm trying to I'm convincing myself that it's gonna work. I'm like, well, we already traded past the 50% of the gap, and oh look, we inversed this 5 minute fair value gap, and this inversion here shouldn't really stop price for whatever reason. I don't think I said, but I just said it shouldn't. because I'm just trying to convince myself and make myself feel okay that make myself convince myself that it's going to hit my target and it's not going to come back against me. And that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. And honestly, I don't really know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that I'm in the trade like trying to convince myself that it's going to work. Um but I mean, even if I do convince myself, even if I do sit here and talk to myself that, oh, it's gonna work because it has this, has X, Y, and Z, or we did X, Y, and Z. I don't do anything differently. I guess it's just a weird thing to think about because I can't really think if it's a good thing or a bad thing. So I said I am in this trade. I am in this trade live right now. Just quick things about psychology. I didn't trade yesterday because it was news. That's a big thing as well. Or it wasn't news, but it was a holiday. What I've learned is that just because the market's open doesn't mean you should be trading necessarily. Um, when it comes down to, see, now I'm having a hard time talking because I'm like, wow, like this thing's really starting to pull back against me now. And that's the biggest thing where it's like this move here, even though I'm not going to get out early or move my sell a little bit lower, it still makes me nervous. It still is like, okay, like, hopefully it comes back, and luckily it did. So you see, we did inverse this fifth or this 5 minute uh fair value gap. We closed above, price thing came down and retested that level. We should get our touch here. Coming back again. I mean, how many people do you think would they see this pullback, right? It just uh it ate about 27 points of profit you were in. Just this move right here. You lost $270. For me, for example, I wasn't really paying attention to my P&L, but I was down 270 from the high. So how many people would have closed out of the position, especially on like this big one right here? Probably a lot of people, and that shit really will hurt you in the long run. Because imagine if I did close out of this trade. Now I might have been only getting maybe a four risk reward, something like that. And not only am I getting less profits, it's also going to irritate me because now I'm like, dang, like I just like if I just held, then I would have made $600 or $700 instead of $500. Like closing yourself out of trades early, especially when you have no reason to besides just how you feel in the numbers on your screen, it is going to hurt you mentally. Uh, it's going to hurt you mentally and how well you develop as a trader in the long run. We should get our touch here. This is one of my bigger trades for sure. Usually my trades aren't 68 points. Usually they're about 30 points, 25 points, 33 points. So this is definitely on the bigger side of one of these trades I've taken. Especially, I mean, if you look at the 5 minute chart, I mean, this is pretty much a whole reversal that I was predicting to happen. Not so much predicting, but anticipating to happen. So it's like we got our reversal sign down here. This was our target for the time being. And that's just what I'm going to target. I mean, this is a phenomenal trade. This is a 7.43R trade. Um, so we should come up here and get this high. I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't. It's not an important level. It's an imbalance. It's 9:30 a.m. It's New York high. Everyone who has shorted this move here, their stop's going to be here. Again, dude, I am thinking of everything I can think of to convince myself that it is going to get there. I could have said all those things don't really matter. Like it doesn't matter if I mark them out, it doesn't matter if I see them. The market could just turn around. It could have just turned around here. But I guess I guess maybe that's how I comfort myself is finding oh, that could be what it is. I'm comforting myself or soothing like my emotion or like my fear by by figuring out why or trying to find reasons on why it turned around or why it's still moving higher and why it retest like why did it retest that point or my entry. So I very much could be a way that I a soothing like method that I use to like dull my emotion or my fear while I'm trading. People are probably closing out of their positions right now as we speak. Should start getting an influx. Not so much an influx. It's a goofy word, but an imbalance of buy orders, which should push price up. I don't like. I just wanted to hit it. Like I'm up 550 bucks. I really would hate to see this reverse. I mean, this is the truth. Like this is really how I feel while I'm trading. Like I might seem calm and collected when I'm going over it, but we're humans. Like my emotions are coming into play. Like I do want to see this happen. And the biggest thing I feel like is when you are starting to get emotional and when you are starting to get like worried, you just want to make sure that you aren't that emotional distress or uncomfort isn't being reflected to the current trade that you're in or the current trades that you would be placing in the future. It's okay to have the emotions. It's okay to feel a certain way, but as long as it doesn't travel to your hands into the screens, it's normal to have those kind of feelings. So, that's it. Right now, we're just waiting. Um, I mean, at this point, I am gonna have it at break even because, I mean, if it comes all the way back down, it's obviously not going to go to the high, especially since we've gotten so close to it. It's just usually I don't ever really see it um, messing around with the high like this. Usually we tend to just kind of get my target right then and there. But as of right now, it's just kind of playing around with that 84 level. It's really having a hard time getting through 80, it looks like. But just wait. I mean, there's nothing I can do but just wait, you know? Here we go. This should be the push right here. What's up, babe? This should be the move right here. We should get it right here. Swept this low. Instant come back up. We should pierce this high, and we should see a nice push through the highs as well. We start to squeeze up higher. I mean, that's a phenomenal trade. I mean, so that's really all there is to it. Is my live commentary for the trades. I think moving forward, what I'm going to try to do is do all my commentary live rather than having the voiceover. It's just going to be harder because I'm going to be having my emotions in play. So I think I might do like half and half. But I mean, it's the same thing as taking the short trades. This trade was pretty important to me because it shows that the way I'm trading right now isn't just like a short only trade. Like it's not a short only setup. It does work long, and today proved that. And, I mean, we caught the bottom of the day. I think this was low a day for the New York session, and I was about 20 20-ish points off from the low of the day. It's not bad, but I mean that's not really that important because I never hold a trade any longer than the previous 5 minute candle. Candles high or low, but it's cool to look at. But yeah, I didn't trade Monday. I traded today. Ended up $680. I'm about $413 away from passing this Top Step account. And then once the Top Step account, if it is passed, I'm not going to say I am going to pass it because I could just go all downhill from here. But if it is passed, once I start doing my live streams, I'm gonna start putting funded where the ICT is. I'll start putting like funded by ICT or something. But yeah. With that said, that was a trade for the day. It was a nice trade because I was flexible with my rules in the sense of the entry criteria, and it paid off. If I was not flexible, then I might have missed this trade completely. I think if I would have entered in, it would have been off this sweep, and this gap right here would have been the fill of that gap. Stop loss would probably be this third candle's low. So I would have gotten into it if I missed, but this got me in a little bit way lower. And I'm grateful for that because I made a little bit more on it than I normally would have if I would have stuck with the old rules. But good day, good discipline, good emotions, and a really nice